Welcome back to the Navy Sports Magazine. We're presented by the Navy Federal Credit Union. Time to shine the light on Navy men's rugby. They've taken the season as far as it can go this week as they will travel to Houston for an opportunity to win a national championship in year one at the varsity level with head coach Gavin Hickie. And I know the expectations of the program, so I know y'all aren't surprised you are where you are this weekend because that's the goal of the program, to hit the ground running and obviously be there. Was there a point in the season, though, and maybe it was a match, maybe it was a practice, maybe it was just something you observed about your team where you said, yes, this group has it, they understand it, and this is where I think they can get to?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, but I don't think there's any one moment, and I hate to fall into cliches, but what we did do and what we noticed was just a growth from week to week, and we never looked past really the week ahead. And but every week when we got another win, and we got another win, and we got another win, we could see the growth within the squad, and I think that's probably the most pleasing thing of this whole season was just a continued growth from week to week to week to where we're now unbeaten and in a championship. And it's a little bit of a cliche, as I said, but just that process of seeing our players every week turn up, still raring to go after a big win, after beating Army for the third time. We're still excited, we're still going. And the leadership of the firsties, just that continued growth hasn't stopped. And that's probably been the moment, so to speak, just in terms of the desire to continue to grow every single week. And that's that when it's all said and done, that'll be the most pleasing point of the season, is just that the desire to get better every single week has been there since the start.
I think the most fascinating thing about your team and your sport, quite frankly, is, for every Lewis Gray that you have a player like Ben who comes from a different background, but buys in and really comes in hard to learn. And obviously now is a person that plays a huge role on your team. What is it about this sport, certainly the culture that exists at Navy, that allows a player like Ben to come into it and then obviously thrive in it as he's doing right now?
Again, a really good question. I would say for every Lewis we don't have many Lewises, that's for sure. Um, but the thing about it is rugby is a very honest sport, and you're going to get the rewards if you work hard, and there's no place to hide. So if you come in, whether you've played lacrosse your whole life, as Ben has, or Vaughan Schmitz, and you give yourself up to this sport where you are desperately trying to get better. And I'd imagine it's very frustrating to be a top athlete in football or lacrosse and then to come to a new sport and kind of be bottom of the ladder and try to have to figure out this complicated sport. But that if you give yourself to the sport and you say, okay, well, I'm going to try to figure this out, I'm going to watch as much rugby as I can, then you'll get your rewards. And as you rightly say, I mean, Ben Hall is one of our most important players. And that's for a guy who's played 2.5, 3 years of rugby. Same with Matthew Thibodeau, who's our bedrock at our scrum time, who's only played, again, his rugby here at the Naval Academy. So the culture within, I mean, the culture is the culture, and we want to promote each other within the squad in terms of giving each other a leg up, that if you keep working hard, you're going to keep progressing. And the culture is very rewarding within our squad, I think, for that. But again, if you do the work, the biggest thing that any of our rugby guys can do is learn the sport as quickly as they can in terms of learning the laws of the game and learning how we play the game. You give yourself those two things, then you're certainly going to get your opportunity here on Navy's varsity team. And I don't think we'll never have our door closed. We're very excited about the future. We're going to have our first recruiting class this summer, but the door will never be closed to crossover athletes who are willing to grind very hard in this new sport. And Ben is certainly one of those guys.
I was going to say, too, as a coach and a coaching staff, having an open mind to those athletes is critical, in terms of that. When you look at a crossover athlete, what's the one or two things that you look for as a coaching staff that you think, hey, I believe this athlete can come over here and thrive in our sport?
Physicality. You can't shy away from the physicality of rugby on both sides of the ball. So that'd be the big one: physicality, intelligence, and I mean that in a way that how quickly can you pick up this sport, because it is complicated. That you're not just stuck in one tunnel vision of, well, this is my one job and that's what I have to do. In rugby, you've got a job every second of the game. As the game evolves, you've got lots of different jobs. So intelligence in terms of understanding the movement of the game, the flow of the game, physicality, and then what's hugely important to us is being a good midshipman. There's no point in coming out to rugby and being fantastic in on the rugby pitch and you're struggling in the hall, or you're not carrying your weight as a good midshipman, because you won't survive on the pitch and you won't contribute to our team. So we look for certain things like that. And so far with all the crossovers that we have had, we've been very fortunate that guys have contributed to the squad.
Obviously, a tremendous matchup with Cal earlier this season. What's the key to Cal the second time around in Houston, where it's winner take all for the national championship?
Winning. It's cup final rugby, so we've got to do everything we can to win. But as we've done all years, concentrating ourselves, what can we do well? What can we do better? What can we do better than our opponent? We have a game plan coming into this where we want a lot of set pieces. We want a lot of scrums. We want a lot of lineouts. We believe we can grind teams down. Allied to our kicking game, where we play territory. It didn't work out very well against Lindenwood, mind you, but we want a very confrontational, very forward orientated game. Where it's a bit of a battle of the wills, and in that kind of contest, we'll always back ourselves. So, we need to contain Cal. They've all played rugby since a very, very young age. We haven't. And that's in their favor. But then again, we've as you say, we've already done this year already. So they've got better, significantly better since we played them. They would have taken a lot of lessons from that game. But we have a bit of a plan. Whether or not it comes to fruition, we'll wait and see. It's going to be a hot, humid Houston. So we'll see how it goes. But we're gearing up for a very physical, very confrontational, hopefully set piece orientated game.
Coach, appreciate the time. Every team dreams each year to exhaust their schedule as far as it can go. Your kids have done that. Best of luck this week as you all chase a national championship. Thank you very much. And thanks for all the support throughout the whole year, Pete. It's been a pleasure to see the guys on here and to be on here as well. And for everybody to get all the support we've got through all the season, throughout the whole season, from NAAA, from our families, from our alumni, from our supporters. It's one of the reasons why we are where we are, and we're very grateful to everybody for their support. So thank you. You got it. Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you. Good luck. Beat Cal.